next on our list we have City the Animation, and I need to make a correction. Actually, before I say that, let me properly check and let me double check everything before I say anything. Okay, yeah. So I just needed to make sure, just in case I messed up, but I did. So this has to do with City the Animation and new panty and stocking. And this is all just an Amazon Prime thing because sometimes Amazon Prime is weird with the way they put out stuff. Kind of annoys me. But basically, what happened was I put down episode 5 for the last episode of stuff, which was not right and very, very wrong. So this upcoming one is episode 5. The past one was episode 4. I changed it in the description, and I've changed it, I think, and hopefully in the timestamps with the other videos, but obviously I can't change it in the video. So if you watch the last episode and you see this episode, it's episode 4. I fucked up. It's episode 5 this week, so apologies. But we are back on track now with episode 5, and we get a main tomboy girl. I really need to remember people's names for this show, but we actually get like a pretty concentrated story. Okay, well, actually, I say concentrated, but boy, oh boy, did I both like and was slightly annoyed by this episode. I did enjoy it a lot. First of all, they do this little I don't want to say stop motion. Stop motion is the wrong word. I think it was just like a live action, but like city town made like fake city thing. Fuck, I don't know what you would call it animation wise. But like if it looked like they made like a fake city but in real life and recorded it to parallel how the anime looked, which was really, 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 really good. Funny enough, the only anime that has done that so far that I've watched similarly is in fact New Panty and Stocking, where New Panty and Stocking, anytime they defeat a ghost of some sort in like the way, right? Because like there's some ways where they defeat ghosts and it's a little bit more over the top than usual or less over the top because it's like the cat ghost. But with City the Animation, they did this really cool thing with again, it's not stop motion, but like it mixed in so well with the actual animation. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is awesome. And then the whole story revolved around them getting the main tomboy character getting kidnapped alongside the super nice dude and at the hospitality tower where they they make hospitality seem like such a bad thing. The whole point is if you do something good, this rich family who I guess also has somebody that's in like the police force keeping track of everybody who does good things. If you do a good thing, you get captured, and then there's like a bridge that gets made to the second tower, and then you go down that tower, and you just get overwhelmed with a bunch of hospitality things. But if you don't want that, and you're able to find the secret entrance on the first tower, that's on the 12th floor, then you have to go through all the bosses that if you fail, then you have to get brought back up. You gotta get brought back up to the tower. Now, I do not blame the tomboy main character for this, where they got kidnapped and they didn't know what to do because it's like, okay, cool, I'm giving all these cool amenities, but also I got kidnapped. And so when you find an entrance, it's like, okay, cool, yeah, first initial thing, escape, because I don't know. But then once the old guy starts explaining what happens, because he's been through it 3 times now, then the main character's the main tomboy character's like, oh yeah, that sounds great. I want to go through that. I like that, right? Only to find out that the door is stuck because someone else is there. And not only that is someone else there, now the other girl who was like the photographer girl is there with them because she climbed the tower and it tries to escape. And it's like, what the fuck? So I do not blame her for getting mad because I would also get mad. I'm just like, you need to tell me that I could have been showered with a bunch of hospitality and good food and massages and I gotten a trophy for being just a nice civilian and you robbed that away from me because, oh, well, it's too much for you to do. Bitch, I want that. I want that. Bro, I would, you know what? Even if it was a bad situation, at a certain point, you have to at least enjoy the amenities, right? Like, I don't know, on what level of bad would I accept staying there with, Because the place that they were at, it had like a nice bath, and it had like a hot spring on the top floor of the 12th floor, mind you. And like you could eat all you want, you could drink all you want, you know, all this good stuff. And so at a certain point, right? At what point do you just kind of sit there and you're like, I think I'm just gonna enjoy this before I actually go away? Because I feel like that makes the most sense, right? You would just enjoy it for a little bit before you actually have to go. I feel like that's an okay thing to do. But of course, they have to go through all these trials, and we get a good visual of the first two trials, where the first one is a magician, but it's a magician that he just self-destructs in like the worst way possible. And he's just like, well, I have no more tricks because all of them were destroyed. You can just go ahead. And the girl who's trying to fail, because if you fail the challenges, you are forced to go back up and enjoy the hospitality. So they keep going. So she sits there, she's like, fucking hell. And then the second one, which honestly, it was my favorite one that I saw, was, I guess it was like some girl who was like, oh, you have to, I'm going to challenge you at like mathematician or something like that. And she's just like, oh, it's a math. Jesus Christ. I'm not even going to like purposely fail this. I just don't understand it. But then there's another girl who comes in who I think we've seen before. She might be in either a similar class or something like that. She looks very familiar. But she spits up water trying to challenge for the 10th floor spot. And then the girl who currently has a 10th floor spot, they do some wrestling spots where the girl who comes in does a crossbody, catches her and does a fucking, I'm not even joking, it's a tombstone pile driver. Like think, if for all my wrestling fans out there, think Undertaker pile driver. Think like Kane, like the big red monster Kane pile driver. Like head between the legs, like propped up a little bit and just like directly on the head. Not like, you know, not the safe version bump, right? Not no Canadian destroyer or Mexican destroyer. No sunset flip. Not like that at all. No, just straight up two-slow pile driver directly after the head. It was just like, oh my god. I'm like, wow, they really did go for it. But they have like a little lovey-dovey moment where it's like, oh, I'm sorry I tried to take your spot. And it's like, I'm sorry, I was so conceited. And they just go. And it's just like, what the fuck? Now this for me here is when I got a little tiny bit kind of like, what the fuck? So I get what they were trying to do. It feels like somebody watched my podcast and took the best lessons from that episode, I think 2 weeks ago, and made last week's episode, which was really entertaining. And then someone watched my episode from last week and saw how much that flipped me back to liking the show and was like, oh, this is a really good show. I really like what they did with this episode. They really crossed over stuff. And thought I wanted more of that. So what we got was like a 8-layer split screen of all the stories happening. Now, at first, I was fine with it. Because then we flipped back to like our other main girl who lost her locket the last episode, still trying to find it, all while this like Pokemon style trial thing is going on in the corner. And I thought that was a cute bit because it's like, oh, it's like that was good. Like we're looking at everything. It's like homage just to show us the little thing of what they're going through. We even get like a point where that girl and the tomboy girl are both talking, being like, oh, I'm at the tower. I need your help. I'm like, oh, I don't give a fuck. And she sees the tower. Right? They take the premise, I think, a bit too far, where, I shit you not, like, again, I like when stuff cross over, I like seeing the stories interact, but to a certain extent, I don't need 8 different stories happening on screen, because at one point, I shit you not, at one point, we get the main story in the tower, the other story with the girl trying to find her locket. We get to see the two high school girls who are interacting, doing the little quirky thing. The one who's like moving but hasn't told her yet. We get a story with the soccer team. We get to see the old lady that we saw for the previous episode, who we find out is a boss at the first floor or the second floor. We get a story of the butler doing something. We go back to the ramen shop that we got in the first episode. Like, it does all these stories all at the same time on screen. And at a certain point, I just stopped caring. I think at a certain point, I just got on my phone and I'm like, okay, well, this is dubbed. Thank God. Because I'm not going to lie. If this was subbed, I would have just zoned the fuck out. I would have been like, oh my... I would have been like, I can't handle this. this is a lot. And it's not like an overstimulation thing. I'm not someone that gets overstimulated. I mean, in the right places. Okay, but in all seriousness, I'm not someone that gets like overstimulated like that. Like it takes a lot for me to actually get overstimulated. But like, that hit like a point where I was like, I'm not overstimulated. I just don't care. You know what I mean? There was just a point where I sat there like, I just do not actually care. Like, at all. Like, whatsoever. Like, I was just like, okay. Like, we're doing a lot here. Where we're sitting here looking at all this shit. I do not care about half the things that are happening right now. Like, I don't. I really don't. Like, I do like all the individual stories when we focus on the individual stories. But you're giving me, like, 8 different stories on screen? Brother, give me, like, 2 at a time. To, like, do something like that. And but yeah, the most I could take is probably 4. That's about it. That's about it. 4. But you gave me like 8 or 9. That was a lot. And then also at the same time, now I say that, but there was also a cute premise, and I only sat there because I know what it was trying to do. Where like they go to the tower, they finally get out. The old lady that's with them goes with them because it's like, oh well, you know, I don't give a shit. And so we find out that the hospitality thing was at the end of the tower because it was just a whole big festival thing for the whole city for a hospitality thing, and it does this thing where I think it lingered on it a bit too long, but we basically see not the whole city, but a good chunk of the city, like at this barbecue thing. And they do it where it's like all these like little bubbles floating on screen, and we see each individual person. And I thought that was cool style wise, because it was slowly building up everybody that was there. Now, it took a really, really long time. And I was like, okay, we're kind of sitting on our ass here a little bit. I don't know if you did this for runtime, but you could have definitely done this a bit quicker to give me a more satisfying reveal. Because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I see what you're doing. But once I found out, then I was just kind of like waiting. Because I was just like, it was the same thing of just like, okay, now we're just doing too much, and now I just don't care at all. But whatsoever. And so like, we got the whole thing. It was nice to see. There was just times where I just went in and out of interest for this episode, and I was just like, oh god, Jesus, okay, fuck. We do eventually get back to the focus of our 3 main girls, where they're eating. She hasn't found the locket yet, but my guess was right. The locket does have a picture of the tomboy girl back when they were both in high school, so my assumption was right about that. This episode was a lot. It was cool, it was fun, but it also was a lot. I think the thing I would say is that it's doing too much. I think that's the like appropriate thing I would say, is that this is doing too much.